Happy Thursday, CMSW. Today we are broadcasting our final Black History Month show.
Our topic today, the Tuskegee Airmen, the first black military pilots in the U.S. Army Air Corps, the original name of the U.S. Air Force.
These men flew more than 15,000 individual missions in Europe and North Africa during World War II.
Their impressive performance earned them more than 150 distinguished flying crosses and helped encourage the eventual interrogation of the U.S. Armed Forces.
During the 1920s and 30s, the news of record-setting pilots like Charles Lindbergh and Amelia Earhart thrilled the nation, and thousands of young men and women were determined to follow in their footsteps.
But young African Americans who wanted to become pilots met with significant obstacles, starting with the racist belief that black people could not learn to operate sophisticated aircraft.
In 1938, with Europe teetering on the brink of another Great War, President Franklin D. Roosevelt announced he would expand the civilian pilot training program in the United States.
At the time, racial segregation remained the rule in the U.S. Armed Forces, as well as much of the country. But as the Armed Air Corps began ramping up its training program, black newspapers like the Chicago Defender joined civil rights groups like the NAACP in arguing that black Americans needed to be included.
In September 1940, Roosevelt's White House responded to public opinion by announcing that the AAC would soon be training black pilots.
The program's trainees, nearly all of them college graduates or undergraduates, came from all over the country.
In addition to 1,000 pilots, the Tuskegee program trained nearly 14,000 navigators, bombardiers, instructors, aircraft mechanics, and control tower operators.
The Tuskegee experiment took a great leap forward in April 1941, thanks to a visit by First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Charles Anderson, the chief flight instructor in the program, took Mrs. Roosevelt on an aerial tour, and photos and film of that flight helped publicize the program.
By the time their squadron flew its last combat mission on April 26, 1945, 2 weeks before the German surrender of the Tuskegee Airmen had flown more than 15,000 individual missions over 2 years in combat.
They had destroyed or damaged 36 German planes in the air and 237 on the ground, as well as nearly 1,000 rail cars and transport vehicles and a German destroyer.
In all, 66 Tuskegee-trained aviators were killed in action during World War II, while another 32 were captured as POWs after being shot down.
After their brave service during the war, the Tuskegee Airmen returned home to a country where they continued to face racism and prejudice.
But they did represent an important step forward in preparing the nation for the racial interrogation of the military, which was signed into law on July 26, 1948 by President Harry Truman.
In 2007, more than 300 of the original Tuskegee Airmen were on hand to receive the Congressional Gold Medal from President George W. Bush.
2 years later, the surviving Tuskegee-trained pilots and support crew were invited to attend the inauguration of the nation's first African-American president, Barack Obama, who once wrote that his career in public service was made possible by the path of heroes like Tuskegee Airmen trailblazed.
That is the show for today, CMSW. Thank you for listening. We will be back next week with all new morning shows. Bye!